the biggest lies ever told. But I'm confused because if you know they're lies, why do you still believe them? Why do you still elect them? Why do you still expose your children to those people who lie? And let me tell you something. You're talking about redistricting, but it's probably close to 200 million what they would call Caucasians in America. So if that is true, and they are about 61% of the population, whatever they believe in, along with the fools who want to be just like them, whoever they want elected by majority vote, they get. But the mind of the people who believe in that foolishness about Christopher Columbus, about people not coming from Africa, about the Pope speaking for God, about how some people are mistreated. They told you this was the land of the free. But freedom for who? Say it again. Freedom for who? Because that's the first lie. Not a small lie, not a misunderstanding, a foundational lie. Because from the very beginning, before the ink dried, before the flags waved, before the anthem was ever sung, freedom was already selective. Freedom came with conditions. Freedom came with exclusions. Freedom came with chains. Chains you couldn't always see, but chains you could always feel. Wrapped in language like opportunity, dressed up in words like justice, packaged in promises that sounded good but were never meant for everyone. They told you if you work hard, you can make it. That's the second lie. Because the hard work has never been the issue. Let's talk truth. Black hands built this country for free. Not metaphorically, literally. From the soil to the structure, from the fields to the foundations. Brown hands harvested its wealth. Railroads, farms, factories, labor that fueled an economy that rarely fed them back. And poor hands of every color kept the machine running. And that means poor white hands too. Day in and day out, generation after generation. So don't tell me about hard work, because the problem was never effort. The problem was access. The problem was who got paid and who got played. And still today, the ladder is not broken. It's designed, missing rungs for some, private elevators for others. Elevators that go straight to the top with the most money. So who told that lie? Because it wasn't just one voice. It was institutions. It was systems. It was policies written in rooms who we were never invited into. The Indian said it best. White man speaks with forked tongue. I don't know how many treaties he broke, but the Indians kept believing him. Now there's a handful. It was the textbooks that edited truth into comfort. It was politicians standing behind podiums, speaking unity while enforcing division. It was corporations selling dreams they never intended to deliver. Buy this, be this, believe this. Buy this, be this, believe this. Repetition is the thing that gets you. You might not believe it the first time, But if they tell it to you 100 times, you'll wind up doing it. While quietly deciding who gets through the door and who gets turned away before they even knock. It was history rewritten, not erased. No, that would be too obvious. Rewritten, so oppression looked like progress, so struggle looked like choice, so survival looked like success. They told you America is a meritocracy. That's the third lie, because merit sounds fair until you look closer. Merit doesn't matter when the starting line isn't the same. You can't measure effort when conditions are unequal. You can't tie your shoes when you don't have shoestrings and you don't have shoes. You can't celebrate winners without questioning the race, because some people started at the starting line and others started in chains. Others started in debt. Others started in systems designed to slow them down before they could even stand up. Red line neighborhoods, underfunded school, overpriced communities, underestimated minds. Tell me, how do you compete in a race when the weight of history is strapped to your back? When policies follow you like shadows, when opportunity is a locked door and merit is the key you were never given. They told you history is in the past. That's the fourth lie, because history didn't disappear. History is written every day. It is adapted, shifted, changed language, but kept its intention. History lives in zip codes, school funding, prison systems, generational wealth, and the lack of it. The past didn't go anywhere. It's just got quieter, more sophisticated, harder to call out, because it's easier to ignore something when it doesn't look like what it used to. They told you racism is just about hate. The fifth lie, because if racism were only about hate, it would be easier to fix. Hate is loud, hate is obvious, but racism is structure, power, policy. It's who gets approved, who gets denied, heard, and dismissed. It's who walks into a room and is seen as potential and who walks into the same room and seen as a problem. It's not just about who says something wrong, it's about who controls what's right. So who told these lies? Let's stop dancing around it. Governments that needed controls, systems that needed labor, elites that needed order and labor, and yes, media that needed a narrative, because stories shape belief and belief shapes reality. If you can control the story, you can control the people. But understand this, it is not just about blame, because blame without awareness changes nothing. This is about awakening, because once you see the lie, you cannot unsee it. And I don't believe that for a minute, because we've seen the lie for so long. I believe it's cowardice. I believe you don't want to fight for your freedom. Once you understand the system, you can not pretend it's accidental. Once you recognize the pattern, you stop calling it coincidence. And now becomes responsibility, comfort, denial, responsibility to think, to question, unlearn what was convenient and relearn what is true. A responsibility to teach the next generation not softened versions of history, but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, the uncomfortable truth, because our children deserve clarity. And they didn't just lie to black folks, they lied to their own children. They even lied to themselves. They deserve identity, not erasure. They deserve knowledge that empowers, not narratives that limit. Because the biggest lie of all, the one that sits quietly but controls everything, that you are powerless. That it is the master lie, because if you believe that, you won't question, challenge, and won't change anything. And that's exactly what the system depends on.